Hello guys, in today's video we will continue developing our end language and we will continue to a new thing. It's the parameter and argument binding. So let's see this example. We have a simple program that print true and define some function that accepts a parameter. Then I will call that function and I will pass it some argument. So let's see, we have say hello and I will pass that name, and then I will print hello and concatenate that with that parameter. So then I will call say hello with the argument person x. So the function will return print will return hello person x. So let's see the bytecode. The bytecode, as usual for the top level code, is we load the stack2 and print and so on. So what I am interested in is that the object function. So in the object function I have to load the constant, the string hello, then I will get local variable 1. So guys, the thing is that parameters will be treated as local variables inside the function. So then I will do operation add to these two things, and then I will print that, and because the function doesn't return anything, I will return nil value. So let's see the call. After before calling thing, I will get that variable. So as I said before, the say hello function, it's treated like variables. I will get it from the hash table if it is on a global scope, or in a local scope I will get it from the stack. So I will here I will define the global variable hello, so that's the function. Then for the call I will get the global variable say hello. I will load the stack the object hello, and then I will load to stack the argument person x, and then the VM will treat the up call with one argument. So when the VM sees that the function loaded to the stack has one argument, it will shift the top of the stack by one argument until it gets the say hello function object. So let's jump right to the code, and we will parse functions with parameters, and also we will parse the arguments. So as I said, parameters will be treated as local variable inside the function. So let's go to our parser, and in the function here I will compile parameter lists. I will check something. I will check if the token right, it is not a token right parent, which means that we have parameters need to be parsed. So what I need to do, I will go in a loop until I found a token comma. So if I didn't find a comma, that's mean that the list of parameter is ended. So what I will do here is to increment the function rt by 1, and I will check if the current compiler function rt is greater than 255, which means that's the number allowed for, that's the maximum number of parameters. So I will raise an error at current that says can't have more than parameters. So if it is not, I will parse the parameter as a variable. So the param constant will be parse variable expect parameter name, and then I will define that variable with that param constant. So far so good. So that's it for parameters. So let's see the arguments. So for the arguments, I will go to the function argument list. So in the previous video I did just initialize the arg count by 0, so now I will not do that. I will check if it is not token right parent, which means that we have argument to parse. So what I need to do is I will loop over until there is no comma. So what I need to do, arguments, it's an expression, so we have a function that reads expression, and then I will check the arg count. If it is 255, that means that error can't have more than 255 arguments. After that, I will increment that arg count, and then that's it for arguments. And finally, we will return that argument count. So let's see, guys, and jump to some sample, and we'll see, and we will use the function that we had in the example. We'll print 2, and we have some functions, say hello with some parameter name, and I will print hello plus that name, and I will call the function with an argument person x. Okay, so let's recompile our project. Okay, parse variable. Okay, compiler. Let's see. Parse variable and compile this parse variable. Make all. So everything is good. So let's see the example, and let's run it on the script sample.int. So as you see, guys, we have the bytecode, and the parameter is get local, and you see the argument is person x. So let's see when the call happen. Okay, the call is happening here. We'll call the function say hello, and we have an argument person x. So then we will execute the function. So we will load to the stack hello, and we'll get the argument 1. We will get local 1, so the person, and we'll do the scan. Then we did add operation, and then we print that, and finally we load null, and we return null because the function doesn't return anything. So that's good. We did the argument binding. So let's say if we add another argument, so that it should print an error that we have different arity. So let's say person x, person y, and let's run that. runtime, it says expect one argument, but we got two. As you see, guys, the function definition and the arity of the function in the definition, we have just one. But when we call the function, we have two arguments. So here doesn't match, of course, this two doesn't match with the definition of one parameter of the function. So good. So let's change that. So guys, what I need to do right now, I need to implement the return statement. So let's say we have a function that add two numbers, some number 1 and number 2, and it simply return number 1 plus number 2. We call that function on 2 and 5, and we did plus 1, and we will print that. So this function will print 7. So let's see, and let's go to our parser and see how we will parse the return statement. Then compiler.c, and so let's add it here. So static void return statement. So let's let that, and let's go to our grammar to add that return statement. So in statement we will add return statement, and let's go after for statement and add that. So the return statement is the keyword return and some expression, and it's optional, and a semicolon. So let's go to statement and add that here. So what I need to do, ls-f, I will check if that match token return, then I will call the return statement function. So let's go to return statement function. So first of all, we will check if the current compiler type is a TypeScript. If it is a TypeScript, that means that the return is used in the top level code, and that is not allowed. The return token will be only used inside a function. Can't return from top level code. That's it. And if match token semicolon, that means that we don't have any expression, so I will emit a byte, which means I will emit null. The user could be do something like this, return, and do something like that. So if I have this statement, that means I will need to return null to the stack. So else it should be an expression, and then I will consume token semicolon, and if it is not semicolon, I will say expect a semicolon, and finally I will emit byte of return. Why is that? Because you remember, guys, in the end compiler, by default we return nil and return. So if we have a return with expression or no expression, I return nil, I will just emit the return, so the VM will not interpret that, because return in the perspective of VM is to halt the machine. So far so good. So let's go to the code. Let's rebuild the project. So everything is good. I will cat the sample of code and let's execute that by doing int sample with int. So as you see, guys, we have the function each return 7. So as you see, the implementation, the bytecode of the function, as you see, we have get local 1 and 2, so these the parameters, and we do add, and then we have return. And don't worry about these two, because these two, as I said, the end compiler function, it returns that by default. Imagine that someone doesn't specify any return in the function. So what I need to do is to, by default, return nil and return. If it does specify that, I should add a previous return, so the machine, when it says return, it will not execute these two. So let's do something good. Let's go to comment and let's comment these two macros for debugging purposes. So I will clean the project and I will make it. So I will cat sample and so as you see, we have print. So guys, in this session we did parameters and argument binding, and also we add the return statement. So our language is now capable for declaring function and calling function. So that is a good stage. So see you guys in other session to add more things to our language.